Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by CB&S Bank. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There you go. Just like that, we're off, we're running, and we are brand new. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond, welcome in to a Monday edition show. You guys know the drill, 256-576-4977. It's the good, the bad, the ugly from what was a fantastic weekend of college football. Both Alabama and Auburn come away victorious on the weekend, both kind of in different fashions. Alabama goes on the road, takes on a Luke Fickell Wisconsin team. We knew they were rebuilding there in Madison. Luke Fickell in year two. Alabama comes out, gets it going. Jalen Milroe, what a weekend he had. 5 touchdowns for Jalen Milroe total. And Alabama just rolls on the road over Wisconsin, 42-10. A lot to take away from that game. And the Crimson Tide, Auburn at home taking on New Mexico. It was the beginning of the Hank Brown era. And boy, Mother Nature was relentless in that one. Rain coming down in sheets at times, especially there towards the end of the first half. But Hank Brown does what Hank Brown was supposed to do in that game, and Auburn prevails 45-19. So now it is the SEC opener this week for Auburn. Alabama will put their feet up for a week as they have the first of their 2 byes. Remember, because of the college football schedule, the way that everything falls in line with the college football playoffs this year, with the expansion of the college football playoffs, they are now taking 2 byes in a season. So you get 2 bye weeks this year. The first for Alabama, first of 2 byes, comes this Saturday. Auburn will take on Arkansas inside Jordan-Hare Stadium. Other good, the bad, the ugly from the weekend. So the good would have to be the way Jalen Milroe played. Obviously, the way the defense at times played there. In Madison, the offensive line, there was a lot of question marks. Caden Proctor, we told you would, and Drew told you he expected Caden Proctor to get the start. Caden Proctor did get the start in Madison. The offensive line kind of coming together in that game on Saturday. So that's got to be some of the good from over the weekend. Some of the good, the bad, the ugly. The ugly, folks, Billy Napier in Florida. That is the pure ugly from the weekend. Billy Napier, we told you he was on a short leash. Billy Napier will get fired. There's just no if, and, or buts about that. Billy Napier will get fired at some point. It just the point is, when will Billy Napier get fired? Because that was an embarrassing performance again by the Florida Gators, as Texas A&M, without their starting quarterback, Connor Wigman, they did not have him. And Florida just looked bad in this one. They lose 33-20 to the Florida Gators over the weekend. So it's not just when it's not if Billy Napier will get fired. It's when will Billy Napier get fired. That has to be some of the ugly from the weekend. And good would be Kentucky's defensive performance against Georgia. Ugly might be the offensive performance from Georgia against Kentucky, as the Wildcats and as Georgia luckily survives this one on the road to Kentucky, 13-12. So that's just some of the good, the bad, the ugly that I noticed, Drew, and I know you've got some as well.
Yeah, for me, the ugly is easy, man. It's Mississippi State. I mean, that's really all you can say. Yeah. I mean, you're down 35-3 at the start of the third quarter. And, I mean, And I turned it over there a couple of times to watch the massacre, and it just kept getting worse. And, when you lose, 41-17 on your home field to Toledo, who's a solid program. I'm not belittling Toledo. They're a really good MAC team, but they should not be blowing you out in your stadium if you're Mississippi State. They might give you a game. It might be, 38-24, but you should find a way to win and win by double figures. And that's just not a good
trail
sign.
28-3 at the half.
Oh, Lord. That's what I mean. And then you come out of the locker room and it's 35-3. So, and then the place is empty and everybody's going to get drunk at the local watering hole. They're not even there. They're not staying to jump around, jump up, and hit the exit. So, crazy, man. Our good buddy Brandon was in Wisconsin, and that's basically what the Wisconsin students did. They stayed to video themselves jumping around, and then they all left.
Yeah. No, they did. They they stayed there until the start of end of the third quarter when they do that, and then they all pile out and left. But that is credit to the way Alabama came in there. Yeah, Luke Fickell is building a program. They're not there yet.
Right.
And because people need to understand that Wisconsin was typically, the reason why they got fed up there was because they were just running the simple I-form. They were just running a pound and ground type of game.
Paul
ground
Chris was still doing what Barry Alvarez is doing. Yeah.
Yes, they wanted them huge offensive linemen. They wanted the big running backs. They didn't want to open it up. It was huddle and take your time and everything. And they're going to a complete spread offense. Mm-hmm. They're trying to get it figured out. And Luke Fickell's, he will get it figured out, but they're not there yet. And Alabama went up there and handled business like they were supposed to. That's exactly what Alabama was supposed to do, and it's what you wanted to see from an Alabama football team.
It is. It was just a business trip, and it was and that's the way Nick Saban a lot of times teams handled it. That was very Saban-like as far as their approach goes. Were there a couple of warts? Yeah, they missed a field goal after having a pretty good first drive. So, in essence, they started slow again because they didn't get points. It was the first attempt from Graham Nicholson. It was just wide right. And then I thought at times the run defense was a little shoddy because they allowed Wisconsin, with Braden Locke at quarterback to hold the ball for 17 plays and get off the field. They had a chance to get off the field 3 or 4 times and allowed them to convert third downs. And then even the fourth down and goal for the short touchdown pass. But I will say this, the strength of Wisconsin's team, just listening to Joel Klatt, and Basketball Boy doing the play-by-play. And by the way, like I said, he needs to stick to basketball. Love
Gus Johnson.
Yeah, Gus. I've started to try to forget his name because he's so horrendous at football play-by-play. But because he's really good at basketball.
No, he is.
And
he is good.
The energy and the enthusiasm, but it just doesn't carry to football. But
that broadcast though, I about fell out of the floor though when Gus at one point asked Joel Klatt if he had ever been to an SEC football game because of the environment.
I know.
And he's like, Joel, there's nothing better than tailgating. There's nothing better than going to an SEC football game. And Joel Klatt's response, it was a long pause. It was an awkward pause. And he goes, well, I'm more partial to dotting the I.
Yeah, well, of course he is. He's a Big Ten guy. And because of what they do on Fox and stuff like that, it's like Steve Moulton and I were joking about it. Like, your network is Big Ten. Like you're Big Ten and you've been Pac-12. You don't really focus on the SEC unless an SEC team is coming to burn your stadium to the ground, which is what Alabama did. And again, but I just think they handled business. But what I was going to say is Wisconsin still has a strong offensive line, and that that probably had something to do with it, even though I thought the tackling was a little shoddy. But let's be honest, I watched college football all day Saturday, Scott, and tackling is an issue everywhere. You already mentioned it yourself. Some of my good, I will eat crow because I kept saying 50 on Kentucky.
50.
But Kentucky stayed in it. They absolutely fought to the end. And then I thought Stoops just missed a golden opportunity. Like, you got to empty the holster. You're at midfield with 4 minutes to go.
Yep.
And a field goal will give you the lead. Your kicker's already made a 55 and a 51-yard attempt. So you've got to find a way to get in field goal range, man. And throwing screens is not going to work. You've got to be able to to manufacture something. If you've got a reverse in the playbook, you might have lost 20 yards on it. But if you've got a halfback pass, if you've got some kind of trick play, you need to try to empty the holster and move the football, because it was obvious to me that all Brock Vandergrift could do is run the football. Okay.
Right.
I mean, even then, maybe run an option or something. Because I was impressed with the way Kentucky ran the ball on Georgia. It wasn't for a lot of big plays, but they did run for 170 yards. But I think they threw for 114. You've got to find a way to get 20 yards and get into field goal range. Now, he may not have made it, but you got to give yourself a chance. Okay. And even on fourth down, you got to go for it. You can't punt it. I don't give a damn how many timeouts you have, because very likely you're going to end up screwing it up and not getting the ball back. So
yes, you have to go for it on fourth down.
And if you do, you're going to have 70 or 80 yards to go. So to me, the game was there to be won or lost. It may not have pulled it out, but they had a golden opportunity and had Georgia on the ropes when they got to the 50, and they just could not. They couldn't generate anything out of their passing game. I mean, I know they tried to throw one ball and the receiver gator armed it. But again, if you had a throwback screen, something like to the tight end where you get Georgia's, because you're going to roll right and then throw back, maybe Georgia bites there. Maybe that's the kind of play you should have run. But there should have been some sort of creativity at that point with your passing game, because again, or an RPO, something off an RPO to try to freeze the linebackers. I just thought that the play calling when they got to midfield was way too conservative. And you've got to have something in your bag that could maybe help you win that game. And so I just thought Kentucky let a golden opportunity slip through their fingers. It would have been the biggest win of Mark Stoops' career. And instead, it was a great effort, but you lost, and you got two losses. You're not going to the playoff. You might go to some podunk bowl, but again, you lost a golden opportunity to give Georgia a loss. Now, Georgia still would be in the playoff hunt and everything like that, but it would have been just a huge landmark for Kentucky.
Yeah. Well, so in the last 5 seasons, Georgia has on the road, this is just road games for the Georgia Bulldogs. They've been held below 20 points 3 times in the last 5 seasons. 2020, 2022, and last night. All 3 of those games had come from against Kentucky, and Georgia has managed to find a way to win all 3 of those ball games. So Kentucky, Mark Stoops has something, he's just not able to get over the hump.
Well, exactly. So again, ugly Mississippi State, bad Kentucky missing a golden opportunity. The good Alabama handled business 42-10. Auburn probably found a quarterback in Hank Brown. He went the entire way.
He is going to start this weekend against Arkansas.
Of course he has to. I mean, he didn't turn it over. I mean, he did a nice job, running the offense. He threw 4 touchdowns. They ran the ball well after a slow start running the ball. Now their defense, it was still a little bit dicey at times, but again, the bottom line is they scored points. They scored a lot of them, and Hank Brown looked very comfortable. So to me, Alabama and Auburn were definitely, part of the good. No question about that. And so we'll see what happens going forward. It's a very interesting game because Arkansas struggled a little bit with UAB. They fell behind 17-3, tied it up, and then it ended up being a 37-27 game. And at one time, I was flipping between games, Scott, but at one time, Tylen Green was like 3 for 12. I mean, it was pretty brutal. He didn't throw. He better play better than that if they want to win at Auburn. Okay.
No, you're right. You're right. Let's go out to the phone lines real fast. Let's get in Mark from Spring Hill. Good morning, Mark.
Morning, Mark.
Hey, morning, guys. I appreciate y'all showing Leonard's loser. Leonard went 2-1, almost went 3-3 if South Carolina, that game.
You had a good chance there, Mark. They just blew a lead.
I know.
That's part of the ugly. It's called gagging and choking and just puking all over yourself, and that's what happens when you got Robbie Ashford as your backup quarterback.
I know.
The referees in that game, though, too. The referees in that game were.
That offensive interference call was a little bit dicey, where Ashford actually did complete a pass, and then on the pick 6, he barely touches the QB, he falls down, they throw the flag. But I will say this, and this is one. I'm not. I did tweet that the SEC officiating is embarrassing, but I will say they try to protect the quarterback under all costs. So if there is a quick change turnover, do not breathe on the quarterback, okay? That guy from South Carolina was a dumbass because they are looking for a reason to throw the flag. It's 40-29, and we're going to see a T-Bob A-Bear rant that would have just absolutely broke the freaking YouTube, and you screwed it up, and you hit the quarterback because you're a buffoon, okay? I mean, did you hit him hard? No, you didn't. But you know the guy's going to flop. You know the idiot official's probably going to throw the flag. So what are you doing? Don't touch the quarterback if there's been a change of possession. There was no need. He was not going to catch your boy, okay? There was no need there. So that's stupid. Right. And so they were undisciplined, and they ended up losing the game because, as we know, they missed a field goal in the last play of the game. They choked, and they blew a game that they should have won over an LSU team that I got to eat crow there too. I thought LSU was a top 5 team in the SEC. There is no way in hell they are. Their defense still isn't good enough, and the offense is good, but it's not last year. So you, Moscona, whoever it is, you keep saying you're going to beat Alabama. Alabama's going to beat your ass, burn your house down, and you're going to lose at least 4 games. And I love you, Matt. You're my guy, but I'm just telling the truth.
I can't wait till we get the SEC rankings this later in the show.
Oh, there was a lot of change in the SEC power rankings by Drew DeArmond. I can tell you that.
I can't wait to get to these. Sorry, Mark.
Go ahead, Mark.
Mark.
No, that's fine. Just 2 quick things. Fickle, I'm very impressed with him and Hugh Freeze can maybe go visit with him in the off season to learn how to lose the class. He just came out there to go back and watch his press conference after the game. And let me tell you who the new Florida coach is going to be. They're an idiot if they don't go after him. I know he got beat by Alabama. I know and I felt like Alabama would beat them like they did. And it's just because I heard a lot of different sports people that looked at that game and said that Wisconsin was not very good. It didn't matter where the game was played. But the other thing is this, and I am so ticked at this, and this is going to help Alabama in 2 weeks. The Vegas lines, all the lines have got, it goes, and I don't bet on football, but I did look at this. They got this thing as Georgia after the pathetic performance by Kirby Smart and his team, who looked disorganized, and Kirby got after his assistants like Saban did. I don't know if y'all saw that on the sideline, but anyway, they got Georgia opening up a 5.5 favorite in one line to as little as a 3.5 favorite. They got the wrong team favored.
We'll see, Mark, but I'll just tell you this. If you think that's going to be the same Georgia team that shows up in 2 weeks that you watch Saturday, I got some swampland in Arizona to sell you.
Yeah, 2.5 point favorite right now.
I would have it at probably Alabama as a 3-point favorite based on what I've seen, but I'm just saying that there are going to be people still favoring Georgia because Georgia was very likely overlooking Kentucky. I think, there are friends of mine that believe they were probably preparing for Alabama the whole time. I don't know about that, but I think they were just Kentucky was a bad matchup, and Kentucky had played poorly the week before. Sometimes teams overlook others. Alabama wasn't themselves against South Florida. They had 13 penalties. They had the 3 turnovers, and yet they still won because they dominated the fourth quarter. It was a similar effort from Alabama against South Florida. You're not going to be at your peak every time. And again, Georgia's everybody's Super Bowl now because they're number 1. And so I fully expect it to be a great game going down to the last 3 or 4 minutes. Georgia's very talented. I don't think they're as explosive offensively as they were a year ago.
No, I thought Saturday. But again, I thought Saturday, Drew.
They'll be ready in 2 weeks.
I thought Saturday was the first time Georgia missed Brock Bowers.
Well, yeah, and also McConkey. I mean, I haven't seen. Yes. I mean, Aiden Smith's a nice player and everything, but I don't see even a wide receiver that's made a ton of plays so far. So we'll see. Now Etienne's a good back. I think he's an improvement over what they had a year ago, but he's not a Nick Chubb type guy to me or DeAndre Swift, but he's a good player. And then they have a Carson Beck, an experienced QB, but I still think the spread should not. It's certainly, I think earlier in the summer it was like 7.5. It's not that anymore. It's shrinking.
It's 2.5.
Yeah, so that's about right, or a pick 'em, or maybe Alabama by 3 because of the home field. But I just don't look, man. I don't see Georgia being unorganized and not ready to play against Alabama. That would stun me, considering how Kirby Smart knowing the stakes there.
Thanks for the phone call, Mark. It is 7:19. We got to get our first break in. I know we got more phone calls on the line. Jeff from the Borough, Brandon, I know you guys are holding. We're going to get to you when we come back from this break. It's Talking Ball on a Monday. You're good, the bad, the ugly from a weekend of college football. 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Had a report of a wreck, 231 in River Loop Road in Lacey. I don't think that one's got an injury. 67 in Sharp Road in Morgan County should be about ready to clear. Still may be working one out on Highway 20 at Woodall Road. 72 and 35 in Scottsboro still sounds like they may have part of the roadway closed there. Do you need help covering a leave of absence or completing a special project? Snelling can help. They've been partnering with the best companies for over 65 years. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Stan McDonald. Stan, tell everybody why you're the best damn dirt lawyer in North Alabama.
Yes, Wes, at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. You know I'm a dirt lawyer, and a lot of our friends know that, which means we specialize in real estate. Now, if you own real estate or you're buying it or you're selling it, you need to do a closing, but a lot of times there's legal issues associated with that. We're a great group to talk to. My son, Lewis McDonald, heads our commercial closing division, and we approach your real estate needs very seriously. We seek to be the premier real estate closing company in North Alabama, and we do it in such a way it shows that we're experienced, we're for your success. We like to handle your real estate needs the same way Coach Dan Reeves used to say, never let them see you sweat. And that's going to be to your benefit, too, when you visit us at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. Our website online is jacobtitle.com.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
It's freezer season at Owen Home Appliance Center. So if rising temps have that freezer on its last leg, check out the name brand frost-free upright and chest freezers. Best of all, Owen Home Appliance has them in stock and ready to go or have delivered. Don't let all that high-dollar food go to waste. Go to Owen Home Appliance Center and get that new freezer. And while supplies last, get a $50 gift card towards the purchase of Wagyu beef when you purchase a freezer. Owen Home Appliance Center. Quality products, quality pricing, quality service. It's in the name.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
Listen to the Woody Anderson Ford Scoreboard Show, powered by Lake Gunnersville Ace Hardware. Each Friday night with Scott Tyson on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Happy Monday morning. And Drew, you'd be happy to know that I am residing at my parents' house right now, and there is bacon in the oven and pancakes are about to be made.
So they're cooking for you, right?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. So those,
yes.
Are you going to try to eat these pancakes while during the show or after?
You bet. Oh, I'm not waiting.
No, yeah, you'll eat them during the break at least.
It's just like it's like a 6 feet walk to the bar over here, and I can just eat the pancakes
So you're in the kitchen. You're telling me.
I'm sitting in the kitchen. Yes,
Okay.
I'm sitting in the kitchen doing this show and enjoying this. And man, I'm telling you what, this is
Brandon enjoyed some good barbecue the day after in Wisconsin. He did send us some pictures of that. It looked pretty good. He said he would. I asked him to rate it like Roll Tide Willie. I know you've seen those Roll Tide Willies.
Yes.
He said 3.7 out of 5, but it was good.
It's different. Yeah. All right. Let's get out to the phone lines. Let's get to Jeff from the Borough because I know Jeff's probably's got a lot on his mind after Saturday. Morning, Jeff.
Morning. Man.
How's it going, guys?
Good.
Doing good, bud.
20 yards, Jeff. 20 yards.
Well, it's 4th and 8. You don't go for it against that defense. You're stupid. Okay, I didn't know you were our coach's dad, but welcome to Kentucky. I didn't know you were our coach's dad. But you don't go 4th and 8. If it's 4th and 3 or 4, yeah, because you run the football pretty good.
Well, I'm talking about the play calls before that, Jeff. When it was like first down, you're throwing screen passes that are getting knocked down by the D line because your receivers can't get off a block or they're too, they're gator arming every throw because they're afraid to get hit.
Well, I mean, that's fine, whatever. I'm saying you're not going for 4th and 8. You ain't doing it.
Yeah, but with 3 minutes left, I think
you
it
got
was
3 minutes, Jeff. You got a chance to win. That's why you're Kentucky. You never win anything. You go for it, and you have some balls, Jeff.
If you don't make it, they go down and score. It's over. They're going to run the clock out.
It was over anyway, Jeff. You didn't even get the ball back till like there was 10 seconds left.
Don't make it. Well, let's put this.
Then go to basketball practice. That's what you need to do.
Let's put it this way. The play where it popped up and Childress ran at 45 yards, it should have been 10-0 right then. Should have been 10-0. Okay? The play where Dingle grabbed that guy's face mask, they tear our helmet off, no call. Okay? Sankey assigned these officials. He wants George.
It had nothing to do with the officials. You didn't finish the game, Jeff. You never do.
Well, I mean, we play, but let's see what you do in 2 weeks against them. Let's see if you can do.
Hey, what happened? Alabama's going to lose to Wisconsin, right? It was a nice scrimmage.
Well, whatever. That's fine. But I'll tell you what, Gus Johnson's a damn good. He's better than Gary Daniels. I can tell you that. I'll take Gus Johnson.
Gus Johnson's a play-by-play guy, moron. He's not a color guy. Gary Daniels is a color guy. Hang up the phone on this jerk. I've had enough. Get rid of him.
Oh, boy.
Next call.
No, look, I'll just say this. There's a lot of Kentucky fans that are upset because Mark Stoops did not go for it on 4th down with 3 and some minutes left to go in the game. If you punt that ball, and I mean, then they did, Georgia's going to run the clock out pretty much anyway. And even if you get it back, you're going to get it back with less than a minute. You haven't been able to move the ball at a high rate the whole entire game. You've got to go for it at that point. You've got to go for it.
I agree.
And he did, and I think that's why some fans are upset. All right, let's go out to the phone lines. Brandon is with us. Good morning, Brandon.
Man, they basically took a knee and surrendered when they punted that ball.
No, they did.
They did. I know they had 3 timeouts, and so did Georgia, and there's a 2-minute warning and all that stuff, but you knew what would happen. You knew that Georgia – I'll give Kirby credit. He was not going to be conservative and run the ball up the middle 3 times like Mike Shula. There's no way. He was going to throw it. And they threw it, and they got the first downs. When you have an opportunity to beat a team like that, you take it. But if you're a basketball school that never wins anything in football except maybe 8 games or 9 games or 10 every once in a blue moon, and you throw a party, that's what you do. And, I mean, I like Mark Stoops. He's done a good job at Kentucky, but they consistently choke in big games. They never win them. I don't care what Jeff says. I gave him a chance to talk, and he just kept blabbing on. He thinks it's the refs that took the game from him. Are you kidding me? This was not Alabama, Tennessee in 2022. It wasn't like that. They had every opportunity to win the game.
I think some Kentucky fans are upset over the non-pick 6 that happened. That they felt like that was a huge turning point. That the ball may, I think that's what some of them are upset about is the takeaway of the pick 6.
Well, guess what? Who knows? I mean, Georgia may have changed their mindset because they got conservative on offense during part of the game because I think they felt like they could continuously stop Kentucky. They didn't respect them. But I'm just saying, you've got your 20 yards from field goal range.
Yes.
And there's 4 minutes to go. You've got to you have to do something more creative offensively than what they did. That was a joke. I mean, as soon as you get stuffed on the run by second down, you've got 3 downs to move the football 10 yards. You've got to find a way to get somebody open, whether it's roll the quarterback out or something. It was an absolute joke.
Well, Brandon, rate the trip for us to Wisconsin real fast.
I thought that the city was really nice. We walked up and down through Milwaukee and rode the streetcar, went to the 3rd Street Market, and place is huge. You got a ton of food on the inside, probably 25 different restaurants you can walk to, TVs, projectors. Harbor House Restaurant on Lake Michigan is incredible. Boathouse Restaurant in Madison is incredible. One of the best places I've eaten at on the water in a long time. I really enjoyed myself. You're talking about receivers getting open. When we threw that wide open touchdown pass to Jose Cuervo, our tight end, to go up 42, people were not feeling us at that point. They were kind of taking their butt whooping okay until we scored that touchdown. Then they started getting a little ornery and angry, talking about, are they still scoring? So that was probably the only low point. Their stadium's a little too small to hold a lot of people and be able to move. The concourses where you go to concessions, it's like a brick wall of people. It took me from 10 minutes in the second quarter to the end of halftime to go get a drink. They were completely overwhelmed. So I don't know if they're not used to that amount of people or that amount of craziness, but I really enjoyed it. I did have the cheese curds. Cheese curds were great. We had a whole basket of those.
I've never had those, man. I'd like to have some Wisconsin. I know they got to be like on another level there.
They came with some spicy ranch type sauce, and I thought they were really good. I had never had them before either, but I would recommend them. I think they're a really great appetizer. And Johnny on the cell last week called up and said how these Georgia fans were calling, and they were running their mouths talking about how they were going to wipe the floor with us. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I walked right through that Atlanta airport yesterday, and if you ain't never flew into Wisconsin and then went back to Atlanta, it's like going from Mayberry to the Starship Enterprise. There's no comparison between the two.
No, the Atlanta airport is unreal, yeah.
And I'm walking through there, and there's all kinds of Georgia fans, and they're looking. They ain't saying a word. Not a single solitary word was said to me or my son by a single Georgia fan all throughout the airport and all the way to the truck on the way home. So I guess that attitude must have come down a little bit after they saw Kentucky beating up on that defensive line of theirs. So I guess in about 11 days, we'll find out what's going to go on.
Brandon, thanks for the phone call, but hope you had a great trip. It sounds like, yeah. 7:32. I tell you what, let's get one more phone call in before the break real fast. Let's get Sean in real fast. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning. Mark from Spring Hill. I believe I was the first caller, right?
Yes.
The reason why the lines are the way they are is because of just like any other. Yeah, Alabama Georgia is the favorite in the game, but you can't go off one game, and they're going to go off the way Georgia's been all year, and they know they're going to play better next against Alabama than they did against Kentucky.
Right.
So that's why the lines are the way they are, and I'm glad they're that way. I don't want Alabama to be a favorite. Never do. Yeah,
and the thing is too, Sean. Georgia still hasn't given up an offensive touchdown. There's something for that. Kentucky's not very good on offense. We know that, but they've played 3 games, haven't given up a touchdown, and didn't have Michael Williams playing on Saturday either. Their best defensive line.
I'll say this: Georgia's got to buy just like Alabama does, but Georgia's not going to keep Alabama from scoring a touchdown. That's not happening. I don't see it any way. But when there was 3 minutes and 39 seconds left when it was 4th and 8 for Kentucky. It wasn't 4 minutes. It was like 3. I think it was 3 minutes and 39 seconds. I was watching the end of that game, and that right there is why Mark Stoops is coaching Kentucky instead of a big time program. That was horrific play calling. I agree with you, Drew. That was horrible.
Whether it's you could have even
first down or fourth, where you go for that. I don't care what dumbass from the borough says. You got the number one team in the country on the ropes. You got a chance to take the lead. You go for 4th and 8. I don't care. That's why you are an idiot.
Or you earlier, maybe even the way you're running the football, did they even try a flea flicker or anything? Kind of something different.
In college, you have some kind of trick play. You don't wait till 4th down to do it. Maybe on 2nd down, something. You try something. It looked like the same script that. I mean, of course they held Georgia 13-12, but it was the same exact play calling all game. You have to change it up on that last drive.
Yes. I agree. I totally agree. That's why I got mad at Jeff, because it's not the refs, man. When you're 20 yards away from a game-winning field goal attempt and you execute like that, that had nothing to do with officiating. Okay? You can go back. Oh, we should have had a pick six. It would have been 10-0. You weren't expecting to be up 10-0 anyway. So, but you had a chance because your kids competed the whole game, and then you took the ball out of their hands because you just don't have enough guts to make a big call.
I know y'all are up against the break. Let me get this. I can't remember who I was listening to. I was listening to YouTube. It was on Alabama, and whoever it was said that this Alabama team looks a lot like Saban's team did. That DeBoer hadn't got his stamp on this team yet. I mean, I kind of agree with them, but our defense is way more aggressive. It is more physical, more aggressive. They're flying around they're having fun. So it's not a typical Saban defense, but I mean, everything else kind of does look like it's a Saban team.
Well, I think the defense still has got some things to clean up because they have turned some guys loose that hadn't. Now, the Wisconsin didn't hit the throws, but in the last 2 games, there's some guys get deep, and I would think that Carson Beck could hit those. Now they've got to clean that up, and they've got to do a little bit better job of run fitting and tackling. But I agree. I think the defense can match up, but it's going to come down to can they match Georgia's physicality, because Kentucky did. But what Kentucky didn't do is they couldn't execute on offense. And I'm sorry, but that's been Stoops' whole tenure is they've been poor.
They don't have an elite coach. They have a good coach.
Right. That's a great way to put it.
They don't have a big game. They do not have a big game coach. They have a coach they got a coach to win 8 to 10 games a year.
Yep. Perfect.
All right. Thanks for the phone call, Sean.
Y'all have a good weekend.
All right, thanks. Let's get that break in. When we come back, we'll stay back. I know we got more callers on the line. We'll get back out there. Justin, we'll get to you. And we got to go over the top 25 as well. Plus, we got Drew's SEC power rankings for the week. We got all kinds of stuff to get through in a short amount of time. We'll be right back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a couple of new wrecks in Morgan County, 67 in Cutoff Road in Somerville and 36 in Lower Dry Creek. That one may have an injury. They were working 231 in River Loop and Lacey, not much to it, and 20 in Woodall in Decatur also may still be trying to clear. Had one in Scottsboro, 72 and 35, had lots of trouble through that area. Just be careful if you're coming through there. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. You can make it safer for them. Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
It's fall, y'all, and at Woody Anderson Ford, we're ready for it. Football, hunting, hiking, we've got the rides to take you there. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we've got over 140 F-150s for you to choose from. XLTs, Lariats, all the way up to the Platinum. And right now, you can get $4,750 total cash back on the 2024 F-150 at Woody Anderson Ford. Here in Huntsville, you see more than every day, and there's a good reason. They're the perfect size, do-it-all SUV for lots of folks. I'm talking about our Bronco Sport. From hauling kids and groceries to the spur-of-the-moment camping weekend, the Bronco Sport delivers. Choose from over 80 Bronco Sports starting at just $299 a month. That's a 36-month lease with $34.56 due at signing, 0 security deposit, just tax tag title, and your good credit. This offer ends 9/30/24. Call 539-9441 for complete details. Come see us today and make it a Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Scott's having some bacon and pancakes.
I'm back. No, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
No. I mean, I understand. You got food there. I
am.
I will appreciate you for taking care of me, though. You did it unintentionally. I owe you a granola bar. I appreciate that. It was pretty good, actually.
For what? Was there?
There was a granola
Is there a granola bar in there?
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was a white cheddar granola bar. Figured it might have been from you on Friday, so I owe you a granola bar, man. It was pretty good. It's not pancakes and bacon and all that stuff you're eating.
Look, I'm going to pull this down. I'm going to. Okay, look, I have the camera. There it is, right there. You can see it on the YouTube channel. There is.
I got so confused. I hit the wrong damn button. There you go.
There's a picture of the pancakes that I was just handed.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. So, and they actually have they got fresh blueberries.
Yeah.
In them too.
I can hear somebody knocking on the table or something. You know. I guess they know that I'm on the air. There you go. Fresh blue. I haven't had fresh blueberries in my pancakes. That's a lot better. I think this is a high quality granola bars, but it's not what you're eating.
Oh, those are pretty good. My wife picks those out, and they're actually at the house. 256-576-4977. You can be a part of the program on this Monday. You're good, the bad, the ugly from what was a fantastic weekend of college football, and we go over it each and every week. And that is your SEC power rankings. You turn them into the Houston Chronicle every week. Before you do that, the new top 25 is out, by the way. And because of Georgia's performance on the road at Kentucky, there is a new number one in college football for the first time since 2008. Texas is back atop the AP rankings. They demolished UTSA 56-7.
Did you see Arch, though? He was lighting it up.
Arch Manning starting for Quinn Ewers.
He didn't start now. Ewers went out in the first quarter with like an abdomen injury. But he came in and lit it up, brother.
Yes, he is there. And they say Ewers is day-to-day.
I think he's going to miss this week, though.
And so it's a strained oblique. Arch Manning comes in. Texas is new number one. Then that is going to be Georgia, Ohio State, and Alabama, and Ole Miss. Those are your top five. Really, the top five all stay the same, except Texas leapfrogs Georgia. Georgia's now number two. The rest of it stays the same. Tennessee moves up to number 7. Missouri falls down to number 7. So they flip-flop there. Miami's 8, Oregon 9, and Penn State 10. So those are your new top 10 inside the AP poll. Those are the new top 10. I want to hear your rankings.
Again, I had somebody message me about this. This is not the AP top 25. It's not Drew's top 25. This is not, and we are going to have to talk at some point about Tim Brando, Deaux, his idiotic top 15 that did not have Alabama in it. I mean, are you kidding me?
Are you serious?
Yes.
I did not see that.
Yeah, that's why I tweeted. That's why he has mayonnaise in his coffee. He definitely puts mayo in his coffee to do that. Okay. But here's my power rankings. And this is the 1 through 16 of the SEC. Number 1, Texas, because of how impressive they were with their backup quarterback in after Ewers went out. Number 2, Alabama, because they went on the road and they beat a Big Ten team by 32. Number 3, Georgia, because they just did not look like a good football team. I think they will against Alabama, but they did not have their best effort against Kentucky. Kentucky had something to do with that, but Georgia did not play very well, and they're number 3 in the SEC. Number 4,
I agree with all 3 so far.
Yeah, number 4, Ole Miss. They were very impressive on the road at Wake Forest. Number 5, Tennessee, this is another one of the uglies. You're onside kicking up 30-0. What are you doing? Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, 5, Tennessee, 6, Missouri, who had to gut one out against a well-coached Boston College team. 7, Oklahoma, who John Sumrall, our guy, they put up a fight, but they could not beat OU. And then now this is where all the one-loss teams and teams that aren't perfect start coming in. Number 8, Texas A&M, and that's part of our ugly, the Florida Gators. You already mentioned Billy Napier being a dead man walking. So 33-20 loss in the Swamp, but big win for A&M to break Dirt Neck's road losing streak. So
with a backup quarterback.
Yeah. And that's even worse for Billy. I mean, a backup quarterback just throws and runs all over you because your defense looks inept. Number 9, LSU, because they rallied against South Kakalaki. Number 10, South Kakalaki, after blowing that game against LSU. Number 11, Auburn, who looked better with Hank Brown at QB. Number 12, Kentucky, who choked on sauce when it mattered. Number 13, Arkansas, who was unimpressive against UAB. Right. 14, Florida. That'll be your first coach fired in the SEC. And then number 15, Vandy. Vandy was Vandy again, Scott. They had a chance. They rallied. Yep. I listened to the end of it. They took a 32-29 lead and then let Georgia State go straight down the field. Vanderbilt's back to being Vanderbilt. And then the worst team in the SEC by a mile right now is the Mississippi State Bulldogs at number 16. Just horrendous.
That's all you can say about that.
I mean, when you lose like that at home, I mean, now the only question for me is, Scott, think about this on Saturday in Starkville. Mississippi State versus Florida.
Florida is a 4.5-point favorite in that one.
How many people are going to go to this game? Is half of Davis Wade Stadium going to be empty?
Yes.
Probably so. I don't think they're going to take crowd shots at this game, Scott. This will be like watching the UFL with the czar, giving us his thoughts on that week to week.
I would say, look, I'm going to say 3/4 of the way full in the very beginning. For kickoff, 3/4 of the way full.
Oh, you think it'll be even 3/4 of the way?
I'm going to say 3/4 of the way full, just because it's the SEC opener.
Okay.
Just because Florida's coming to town, it's the SEC opener, but by half, it's over half empty.
Ugh.
There's not going to be anybody there.
Could this be the Tuberville and Mississippi State in 3-2?
No. I mean, look. And here's the thing, though, and I'll say this: Florida has talent on that field.
They do have. I think their offense is pretty decent,
Florida
but their offensive line, their skill people are good. Their offensive line is below par, and then their defense is just horrendous.
They're just bad. They're in bad spots. Whoever's coaching them and they're putting them in bad spots. The secondary and everything is just they're just in. I don't know. There's a lot to be said, but they're just not being coached well, and that's why Billy Napier is going to get fired. And he's a good guy, but he's just going to get fired. All right, 7:48. Let's get that last break in before the hour. 256-576-4977. You can join the program. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a couple of wrecks working in Morgan County. 67 in Cutoff Road, that's near Somerville. Apparently no injury. Had 36 in Lower Dry Creek. I think that one did report as an injury time. Do you know who to call when you need a heart doctor? You could write this name down now so you have it in the future. Dr. Randall Burns is at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Already about to hit the halfway point. This is our high school streaming network. This week, week 4 features Buckhorn at Lee. Zone 2 features Madison Academy at Madison County. Zone 3 has the Randolph Raiders at Pope St. John Paul II. The Sparkman Senators will be on Zone 4. Plus, you can also hear it on Talk Radio 2 as well as on Talk Radio, with Huntsville taking on Sparkman. And Zone 5 features the Westminster Christian Academy Wildcats at DAR.
Are you feeling tired? Are you feeling sluggish? Gentlemen, Game Day Men's Health. Game Day Men's Health is here to help you. Braden is here. Braden, you've got the answers.
Thanks, Scott. Whether it's low T, erectile dysfunction, weight loss, or a number of other things, we have the solution for them.
It's Game Day Men's Health. Give them a call today at
256-850-1570.
You can find them online.
GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Hey, what man wouldn't like to have tests done in a man cave?
That's right. Come in for your free test and consultation, walk into a world-class staff, a comfortable, relaxed environment, and we got your results in about 20 minutes with appointments less than an hour.
And the big game is always on the TV. It's Game Day Men's Health. Give them a call.
256-850-1570.
You can find them online at GameDayMen'sHealth.com/Huntsville/The Zone.
You need a lawyer and pick up the phone. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. When you call for a lawyer, where does that phone ring? It might be in a call center somewhere, maybe 100 miles away, but my phone rings in my office.
The Lackey Law Firm.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. My phone rings in my office too.
So does mine. I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. And when you've been hurt and need help, we're here. We're the ones who take your call.
And get what you deserve.
You want to talk to your lawyer. You don't want to reach a call center. With the Lackey Law Firm, that never happens.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And this is the most important part. We'll treat you like family because that's exactly what we are.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And I'll go you one better. If you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Embark on a flavorful journey at the Brewers Cooperative. Located within the vibrant community hub of Stovehouse in Huntsville, our brewery isn't just about crafting exceptional beers. It's a destination where culinary delights and local brews harmonize. Whether you're seeking a laid-back lunch or a lively dinner with friends, our diverse menu has something to please every palate. With a commitment to quality and a passion for innovation, we invite you to savor the unique flavors of Huntsville's craft beer scene at the Brewers Cooperative. Call 256-678-7036. The Brewers Cooperative.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
All right, welcome back.
Was the bacon extra crispy?
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
So I had a stack of 3.
Really?
Yeah, I had those before while we were in that last segment, and I got another stack. I got another stack here.
I bet he's going to eat at least 12.
No,
not 12 stacks.
No,
I mean 12 pancakes.
No, we're going to cut it off here.
Are we? Okay.
Yeah. But that's So I got another
Any
stack.
hash browns?
No. But I could have had an egg with them though if I wanted to. If I wanted to have egg, I could have had.
Yeah, eggs your mother makes. They're always great.
Oh, I know. No, there's nothing better though than coming back and getting some of this, but it's all good. I got fresh raspberries over here too, as well.
Oh, raspberries! That sounds nice.
Red ones, yeah, fresh red raspberries and stuff. I mean,
I've got water in a granola bar.
No offense to Jonathan. I mean, look, still, Metro is still our heart, and that's where my heart's at. But
this got a Mountain Dew and a fast break.
What's a fast break?
That's some kind of Reese's thing, right, Bandy?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
some kind of peanut butter thing with peanuts, and I've had
this is going to be a Tuesday and a Wednesday thing, though. I mean, I get this for 2 days. So
every show, man. I can't wait for this. We're gonna have this all over YouTube. I might as well start a cooking channel.
Oh, why not? I mean, like they say, win in Rome.
Yep. Well,
Anyway.
Eventually you're going to have to send us a picture of some chicken tenderloin sandwich as big as
the
a
pork
spare
tenderloin.
tire.
Yeah,
Or
I don't
whatever.
know.
Oh, I'm sorry, pork. That was probably trap. Just blasphemy what I just said. Yeah, pork tenderloin sandwich. Sorry.
Yeah. So there is, if you're watching the YouTube channel, here is the second stack. There they are, right there.
Second stack.
Oh,
Should have given us some of the bacon too.
The bacon is
Just
right
to drive
there.
us nuts.
There's the bacon. If you're watching it on YouTube, yes.
I can't see it. I don't want to see it.
It's made. The bacon is perfect for you.
Oh.
This is exactly what.
I probably would have had to have some eggs too.
You could have had that.
I know.
You could have said I wanted that, and then it would have magically appeared. It's like Disney World, just magically appears.
Magically in Iowa. Build it and they will come. You remember? Unfortunately, we lost him last week. By the way, we didn't really talk about that.
Oh, I know. We didn't have time. We did not have time. I mean, one of the greatest voices actors of all time, James Earl Jones. I mean, we did not.
And hey, Scott, whose voice was he also? People don't even
He
think
was
about
the voice of CNN.
No.
This is news.
No, not just that, dude.
Oh,
one of the all-time great villains ever.
who was that? Oh, Star Wars, Darth Vader.
There you go. Boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
Yeah, indeed he was.
You realize the royalties he probably made off that, just being the voice of Darth Vader.
Gosh. Yeah, I mean, and you think about it. I mean, he was in all kinds of things too.
yeah.
Things that we forget about a lot of times. I mean, Mustafa from Lion King.
Good
I mean,
Lord, there you go.
he was in that one as well. All right, we're just about done with hour number one. When we come hour number two, as always, Alex Scarborough will join us as we dive deeper into Alabama's win against Wisconsin. And I said out the top of the show, this is what some people in college football still are. I've had a couple of people say, "Wow, I can't believe Alabama's bye week is so early this year." It's because, remember, they get 2 bye weeks now. Everybody in college football gets 2 bye weeks. And so the one is now right before Georgia. And so, Alex Scarborough will join us. And what does Alabama have to do between now and next week against Georgia? Because they will be off. What do they have to do, Drew? If you look at this Alabama team, and this is why you play some good competition to get ready for games like this Georgia one. But Alabama, just like any other college football program right now, they are still growing. They're still trying to figure things out. It's not a finished product. But what's that one thing that Alabama has to finish before they get to this Georgia game?
Well, I mean, I just think they have to be more consistent offensively and get off to a faster start. They haven't gotten off to a fast start yet in the first 3 games, and Georgia's going to come out on both sides, in my opinion, guns blazing, because they're going to try to make a statement that they're the best team in the country. They're going to use it as fuel to what everybody's saying this morning. Well, if they play like they did against Kentucky, they're not going to. I'll be stunned if that happens. Because
they'll play like they did against Clemson.
And Kirby wants to send a message that he's king of the mountain. So Alabama's got to, match Georgia's physicality and intensity from the kickoff.
All right. Alex Scarborough going to join us on the other side. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Check out VSiN's catalog of original podcasts, daily and weekly programming to keep you in the know when you're on the go. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Monday Night Football, the 0-1 Falcons take on the 1-0 Eagles. It's an NFC South, NFC East battle. Atlanta's a 5.5-point underdog on the road, plus 210 on the money line. The over-under is 45.5. Wide receiver A.J. Brown will miss the game for the Eagles. He's dealing with a hamstring injury. Wide receiver Johnny Wilson listed as questionable. He didn't practice Saturday and is also trying to battle through a hamstring injury. Two players listed out for the Falcons tonight. Cornerback Antonio Hamilton Sr. He's listed with a groin injury. Linebacker Nate Landman out with calf and quadriceps injuries. That's the VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. I'm Chuck Sanders.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
It is hour 2, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, and big thanks to SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center helping us kick off hour number 2, 256-881-5151. You can experience that SportsMed difference. Give them a call today. SportsMedAlabama.com if you want to find them online. They can help you out. And don't forget, we'll have the SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center Athlete of the Month coming up here in a little bit in the next few days. And then we'll also have our Brian Bank Team of the Week. So we're really, really gearing up for another good season of high school athletics and recognition here at 97.7 ESPN The Zone. But Alabama football goes on the road Saturday, handles business against Wisconsin. Now they get a week off, and then it's the game that I think everybody has circled on the calendar maybe 900 times, and that is Georgia making a visit to Bryant-Denny Stadium. But before we get there, Drew, we got a week of practice, and we still got to kind of break down again what happened against Wisconsin.
Yeah, and who better than to help us do that? He does a great job as the columnist and senior writer for Bama 247. He's covered the SEC and the Alabama Crimson Tide for over a decade. Spent a long time with ESPN, but is now with 24/7 Sports and CBS. He was in Wisconsin for the game and saw with his own eyes the Crimson Tide take apart the Badgers 42-10. And we're going to talk some Alabama Crimson Tide football heading into this bye week with Alex Scarborough. Alex, you're welcome back to Huntsville with Drew and Scott. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, fellas?
Well, we're doing well.
Good.
Scott's actually in Iowa eating a lot of great food. I had a granola bar and some water, but we're good, man. No doubt. How was your trip to Wisconsin? Was it the first one for you?
It was the first one for me, and it was interesting. It was good to check out a different environment, jump around, lived up to the hype, but as we all saw, it cleared out immediately after that. I've never quite seen anything like that. But, you know, it was good. It was good to check that box, and the weather could not have been better. So good to get Wisconsin in September and November.
You mentioned check the boxes. You mentioned that, check the boxes. What boxes then did you see Alabama check off in this win Saturday against Wisconsin?
I think you have to start along the offensive line. They looked terrific. I guess we should go ahead and give Caden Proctor the MVP award because he comes back and everything gets instantly better. And he played a heck of a game at left tackle. I'm not sure he gave up a single pressure. I know he didn't commit a single penalty. And then on top of that, Elijah Pritchett coming in for Wilkin Formby, something we wondered whether that might happen after Wilkin struggles against USF, giving up some pressure, committing a lot of penalties. And Pritchett looked really good, looked really athletic out there, move around, different. You see why he's a former five-star prospect. So that line really came together in a big way. I want to say they only had 2 penalties and 2 pressures the entire game. And those 2 penalties were not holding. They were just false starts, which you kind of expect on the road. So I'm sure coaches will look at that, but 2 penalties is not the end of the world. So played really well, helped out in the running game, gave Milroe time to throw the football. I think that's the biggest takeaway for me. And, we can talk about Milroe in the passing game, but I really think the defense stood out in a big way. Keon Sabb flying around, Malachi Moore, that open field tackle. But to me, the guy who we got to continue to spotlight is LT Overton in that bandit position, really making that his own. That was a question mark. We talked about it on this show at least once or twice about who's going to be the guy who can create pressure on the quarterback. LT Overton appears to have put his hand up and said, me. He seems to be a guy who they can depend on, and that's really what they needed in that front seven.
And then I've got to say, too, I'm glad you brought up the offensive line. Only 1 penalty. I think Booker got one in the second half at left guard, but they played well. That's the first time we've seen that 5 with Caden Proctor and then Pritchett in the starting lineup. So it looked much, much better. But also, I think this was the mantra that I had going in. Milroe just continues to play really well on the road. Now we'll see what happens against Georgia at home. But I guess the thing that I'm noticing is I think he's getting more and more comfortable each week with this new offensive system and the passing game. It's very, very explosive. I love the way they attacked Wisconsin with under a minute to go to score. And I thought that was really the hammer blow that knocked out the Badgers near the end of the first half.
That was a wow moment for me. I'm not going to lie to you, because you get the ball back with 36 seconds.
Yeah,
if I remember
30.
right.
Yeah, under a minute. Yep.
Yeah, and you just go right at them, and that's the thing. Sometimes this offense can drive me a little crazy because it is a little boom or bust. But that big play ability and the ability to swing momentum in a game and just take the air out of the stadium completely was pretty incredible to watch, because then again, coming out of halftime, they get the ball back, they drive down the field really quickly to score again. That quick strike ability that they've really established. Obviously last year that was there, but this year as well, when you welcome in a Ryan Williams, and just we can't say enough about how good that kid has been out there at receiver. But no, I think you're right with Milroe. I'm seeing him a little less frantic in the pocket, and maybe it helps when there's, the offensive line is playing as well as he does, but there were times where he had a little bit of happy feet. But no, he seems to be coming his own. I'd still like to see more in terms of just the short passing game and just getting him in a rhythm, throwing the ball over the middle. But man, when you're completing these, 20-plus yard bombs like he's capable of doing, it's hard to knock it.
You mentioned LT Overton and how he's kind of taken his position and made it his. Tim Keenan has been a force as well along that defensive line, and really, man, another great game. He's just everywhere.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie to you. I went into the season thinking Jaheim Otis was going to, out of that group of defensive linemen, I was like, okay, that's the guy. And Tim Keenan said, no. You may be overlooking me because I've been in this program for a while, but man, I think 326 is how he checks in. And he's been able to get pressure on the backfield. Like he's not just sitting in the A gap, plugging up a hole and that's it. He's been very tenacious up front and really established himself as one of the top players on this team. And again, a welcome development, because you didn't know where that was going to come from. We felt good about the depth and experience along the defensive line, but who was going to be the game wrecker? And he seems to be that guy, along with LT Overton, who's established themselves early. And I will say this: we got to give a tip of the cap to the guy right behind him. Jahad Campbell is playing out of his mind this season. We saw what he was capable of last year, but man, his positional versatility, the inside linebacker who can play on the edge, really get into the backfield and put a hat on a hat. Been very impressed with him. Him and Keon Sabb, they've made themselves a lot of NFL money so far this season. We'll see if that trend continues.
And we're talking to Alex Scarborough, Bama 247, part of 24/7 Sports and CBS. Also, when you look at this defense, I will say that the one concern I have is they've struggled a little bit with the outside run, and I give you credit for the reporting last night. The one negative, I thought, the biggest one coming out of this game was the injury to Quay Russaw. But talk about the seriousness of that. And he's a guy that I think had earned that starting job because he's 250. He set the edge really well. We saw Keanu Coote come in even before Q Robinson. Keanu struggled a little bit. I thought Q, once again, situationally, a third straight game with a sack. He's done a great job. But setting the edge, especially against a team like Georgia, is going to be very important. But talk about Russaw and where that stands and the run defense a little bit, which I thought was good but not great against Wisconsin.
I agree with you 100% on the run defense, and I thought the same thing against USF, where there was one drive where they were just running it at will.
21 plays, and then they get up the 17-play drive to Wisconsin. Yeah,
exactly. So there are moments where it kind of falls apart, and there was one clip, the open field tackle by Malachi Moore. That was because LT Overton was in the wrong spot. And they exposed that. But no, I'm told with Quay Russaw, it's a knee and an ankle that he injured, but it's not as bad as it may have appeared. The timeline is still to be determined, but there's no tear, not season ending. Obviously, the bye week comes at a really good time, not just for him, but for Malachi Moore. Sounded a little bit like Kalen DeVore was saying that was a concussion, him going through the protocol for that. And then we're waiting to find out what's going on with Richard Young, the third string running back there too. So again, the bye week comes at a good time. I don't know necessarily if it gives enough time for Quay, but the good news is for a young guy who's been really promising this year, took the starting job in a matter of 2 weeks. He just basically said, "This is mine now." For him to not be out for the year, for that possibility for him to recover from that without any need for surgery or anything, that's a promising development for a guy who you think you can count on late in the season.
Alex Scarborough, kind enough to join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline right now, breaking down Alabama after the win against Wisconsin and kind of looking ahead now. They get Georgia in 2 weeks. Alex, do you take on the Western Kentuckys, the South Florida, the Wisconsins, in hopes of getting better, getting everybody on the same page, all the coaching staff, the newness surrounding this Alabama team, going into the bye week and going into that Georgia game? Alex, where do you think is this Alabama team, and where do you think at practice Kalen DeBoer is going to say, okay, guys, this is where we've got to try to get better in this area because we're still not there yet?
Yeah, I think it's a work in progress. I know that's a cliche term.
Yeah.
But I do think, especially when it comes to the passing game and the fluidity of it, the big play's there, but when the big play is not there, it's kind of like a pitcher. When your stuff isn't great, you've got to be able to pivot. And I want to see the ability to pivot. I want the running game to improve. Like, where's Justice Haynes? 2 carries against Wisconsin for a guy that I'll at least raise my hand and say I expected really big things from this year. So it's tough when you're this big play offense and you're running 56 plays in a game. It's hard to get everybody touches. I recognize that, but trying to figure out who those playmakers are, spotlighting them. It's interesting. I almost look at these first 3 games as almost like a preseason because not a knock on Wisconsin, but we knew they weren't a top 25 program. But because of all the newness around this program at Alabama, new coaching staff, all these transfers, new system on both sides of the ball, pretty significantly different from what they were doing before, that I feel like a lot of these games were about, okay, how's this looking? Let's mold it to where we're good. Let's see some results and tweak it based on that. And what I've noticed is a ton of rotation.
Yes.
Whether you're talking about the defensive backfield, a lot of guys playing back there, a receiver especially, the number of guys who've gotten targets. I mean, you're talking 7 receivers who are, and not just playing in garbage time. They're playing in the first half, rotating in. And that's pretty unusual. So is this a matter of them just saying, hey, we feel good about Ryan Williams, we feel good about Jeremy Bernard, somebody else has got to step up and prove that they can't come off the field. So, again, kind of like preseason, show me what you got. We're going to roll a lot of guys out there. Prove to me that I can count on you when SEC play begins. And in a way, if it works out that way, especially with the timing of the bye week, it could be looked on as a really good thing because you come out 3-0, come out with a lot to improve on, and you can sort of come out of this week saying, hey, here are the guys I know I can count on. Let's trim a little bit and have an established pecking order and maybe see a little bit more continuity, a little bit more chemistry on both sides of football.
And Alex, I can tell you this, with the injury to Quay Russaw, we saw it as the game went on. I thought it was encouraging. Of course, Keanu Coote got reps. I think he had 3 tackles. We talked about Quay with the strip sack, Q Robinson, pardon me, with the strip sack. But we also saw Yanze Pierre for an extended period of time. So the one good thing about with Quay being out is they seem to have depth at the Wolf.
They do. You want Quay to be the tip of the spear there. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I was really heartened by that Q coming off the edge and having the strip sack there. That's what you expect from a guy like that who's got a ton of athleticism. Go out there and beat a slower tackle and just burn him off the edge. That's what you wanted to see. So I think you can make it work for however long Quay is out. And again, that's still TBD. But there's depth there. But again, depth is a good thing to talk about against, in these games that you feel comfortable winning. When you're getting into a Georgia game, when you're getting into a Tennessee, you shouldn't be getting into your second and third string. You got to count on those first string guys and establishing who they are.
Alex, now, I mean, you look at it, we've had callers call in and people think that the Georgia that we saw Saturday on the road at Kentucky is the same Georgia team that's going to come into Tuscaloosa in 2 weeks.
No.
We're telling everyone that this is going to be a good Kirby Smart team still. And they still have answers, though, as well. I mean, I will say on offense, they are still trying to figure themselves out, just like Alabama is, though, as well.
Yeah, let's not kid ourselves. Like, this is still Georgia. It's still the number 1 team in the country. It's still a team with umpteen different NFL draft picks, including, oh, by the way, the guy at quarterback. I'm not overreacting to a game against a really well-coached Kentucky team. You can argue that some of the offensive play calls are pretty dumb, but they know how to develop players. They know how to play defense there. And that was just a classic trap game. You're Georgia. You've just been mowing over everybody. And then you got to go on the road to Kentucky, but you got a bye week and then Alabama behind it. Let's just sleepwalk through this thing. So you find a way to win. And if anybody who's watched Alabama for a long time, that's what Alabama's done that before. Good teams do that. You kind of have to figure out a way to win when you don't have your best stuff. But I still expect them to have their best stuff when they come to Alabama. They've upgraded at running back with ETN. They still got a really good offensive line. I know it hasn't shown with the receivers quite yet, but I believe what they have there is pretty darn explosive. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you just got to trust that it's Kirby Smart defense. And when you look at a Michael Williams and Malachi Starks, like, you've got playmakers back there. They're going to come ready to play. And that's going to be a very tough game where Alabama's going to have to put their best foot forward. I have zero doubt about that.
Well, and they're heading into the bye. In your mind, Alex, as we wrap up the conversation, what are the biggest areas of improvement that you need to see for Alabama? What do they need to work on? We've talked about the positives with the explosiveness, with the run in the past. There's been balance, but what do they need to work on going into this bye?
I think you got to shore up the run defense, because a lot of it, when they've popped big plays, have just been as simple as missed assignments, not being where you're supposed to be. And I know that kind of stuff drives Kane Womack absolutely crazy. So get that shored up. And then on the other side of the ball, it's kind of the same deal. Figure out what's going on with the running game. Like, we know Jalen can move the ball with his legs, but let's figure out a way where we're getting positive yardage on first and second down and putting our passing game in a better situation. Because as well as the passing games work, it hasn't had to work very well off of play action, and that's where you can really make your hay. So I think you've got 2 really good backs in Cam Miller and Justice Haynes. Figure out a way to get those guys going, because that'll really put Georgia's defense in a bind. If you're going to go in and play a game against Georgia and say we're going to rely on the big play, Kirby Smart's going to look at you and say, no. He's going to take that thing away, because that's what Nick Saban did. He picked out the best thing you did offensively, and he took it away, and he made you do something else really well. Sometimes it beat him, sometimes it didn't. But I have a feeling that's what Georgia's going to say. They're going to say, well, we're going to put a safety over the top of Ryan Williams all day long, and we're going to make you make a play somewhere else. And where does that leave him light? It leaves him light potentially in the box. So I think working on that running game this week could pay dividends a couple weeks from now.
Great stuff, Alex. So we appreciate the time. Let everybody know how to follow you and what you guys are doing at Bama 247.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Just go to alabama.247sports.com. It's not just me there. It's Mike Rodak, Cody Goodwin, Kirk McNair on the team side of things. And then Brett Greenberg does a terrific job covering recruiting all year long. It is a lot of good stuff. A lot of, I believe we got a 30% off deal on the membership right now. So go take advantage.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, fellas.
Alex Scarborough, great stuff there. Great insight to Alabama and a look ahead to Georgia. Let's get a break in. 256-576-4977. You're good, the bad, the ugly can continue from a busy weekend of college football. After this, it's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
They're showing everything but 36 and Lower Dry Creek Road in Morgan County is being cleared. That one on 36 reported with an injury, so it may take a little while to get it cleared out of the way. Everything else seems to be moving along nicely this morning. You be careful as you make the rest of your trip in. Put some extra room in there so you got somewhere to go if something does go wrong. With more than 30 years experience, D&L Refrigeration can save you money on those heating and air conditioning repairs. 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com. Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
Flying nonstop from Huntsville is a breeze on Breeze Airways. They're nice people flying nice people to nice places on really nice planes. Let's be direct. Nonstop from Huntsville to the places you want to go. Las Vegas, Orlando, or Tampa starting at $49. It's time for a weekend getaway or a long overdue week away. Time to check in using the convenient Breeze app and check out. What are you waiting for? Book today at flybreeze.com. That's flybreeze.com. Breeze Airways. Seriously nice.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at JetSuperstore.com.
Hi, this is Chris Stewart. The quest for a 19th championship starts this fall. Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, welcome back in. It is 8:24 on a Monday morning, and I've consumed the pancakes, I've consumed the bacon, and now I'm just enjoying some fresh red raspberries to top it all
Lord.
off. I had a few earlier, but now I just got a little bowl of fresh red raspberries, and I'm just enjoying this.
Well, I'm trying to give you time, man. I was asking questions, and
no, it was good. Look,
giving you some time to eat.
Alex did, but I tell you what, though, Alex gave us some good insight.
He did
to Alabama football.
Clay Russaw, that's big news
at.
because I'm just telling you, Scott, when it happened, he got rolled up, and it really. And they did the ACL test, I was told, on the sideline. So there was some thought that he might have torn his ACL. So to have him back at some point is really big.
And I tell you what, though, I do feel for Tyler Van Dyke.
Yeah, that's
starting
terrible.
Quarterback at Wisconsin. I do feel for him.
I think he did tear his ACL. It's non-contact, just horrid. And he was knocked out. He was the first drive. He was 5 for 5. He was in a rhythm. I still think Alabama wins the game handily. But look, to go down like that, and he was a one-year guy who was trying to find a place to play. Yeah, man. I mean, it's gut-wrenching. And then Alabama had another significant injury to Richard Young, the third-string tailback. He was running the ball well in the second half, and then I think he went down with another kind of high ankle sprain as well. He should be back. I don't think it's a season ending by any stretch either. But, yeah, Tyler Van Dyke, man, you feel for a kid like that because when I first I thought maybe he had a cramp or something, and then, man,
he comes out in that brace, and then,
and then he's got his head in his hands, and you just know it's bad.
All right, let's go out to the phone lines. I know they're filling up. Ryan from Huntsville is with us. Good morning, Ryan.
Hey, good morning. So we get hey, good morning. So Georgia's team last year, Georgia's team this year, they had expectations that they were going to win last year. Everyone discounted us. I looked at all the, talk shows from last year, and everyone was like, well, Alabama won. So how would you rate the complexity or the trickery of this game compared to last year as the first question?
I just think it's going to be a tough game. I thought it from the start. I mean, trust me, Kirby's going to have his guys ready. They're as physical a team as there is in the country. They haven't given up a touchdown in 3 games, so they're very, very good up front. Their secondary Starks is a really good player. They will present Alabama with problems that they haven't seen. They haven't seen a defense like Georgia's, and then Georgia does have a very experienced quarterback in Carson, Beck, who can process, who can throw the ball on time. Played pretty well against Alabama last year, so. And now have they looked as explosive as last year? No, but at the same time, I think ETN is a good running back who gives them a little bit more juice there than they had maybe a year ago with Dejon Edwards. So, and Kendall Milton, 4.75. So I just think they've got, a little bit better backfield because I think they've got some other options too. And now they don't have Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey, but they still have weapons. And I'm sure they've held some things back for Alabama. Alabama's probably done the same for Georgia. I definitely don't think we've seen all of Alabama's offense, but it's going to be a heavyweight Ali Frazier type deal.
Yeah. All right. Well, all right. Thanks. Talk to you later.
Thank you, Ryan.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. Let's go visit with Floyd real fast. Good morning, Floyd.
Morning, Floyd.
Hey, guys. I agree with you there, Drew. I know the year after we lost Devontae and all those receivers, we can our offense a good bit. I still don't believe that Carson Beck has adjusted to not having Brock Bowers and McConkey.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think because of that, he's more indecisive. He doesn't have those to bail him out a lot of times, and it really showed against Kentucky the other night because Kentucky secondary, they weren't really that good.
Well, they did a nice job, and Alabama's is young, and Alex Scarborough made a good point. A lot of Alabama's issues defensively when they've given up plays have been missed assignments and being out of place. And so you're really going to have to rep. You're really going to have to be sharp against Georgia because if you're out of place against them, they'll make you pay more than the teams you played thus far.
That's true. And on the Alabama side, man, I was I was tickled to death to see Overton.
Yes.
It was almost like he was a man possessed out there Saturday.
He did. He played well, and as Alex pointed out, he did miss an assignment on a perimeter run, and that's what you can't have against Georgia. He played with intensity, though. He got the big sack. He just needs to pay attention to detail the entire game when he's in there, because he'll rotate with John Mary and Latham. But, you know, you've got to set the edge. You've got to play physically, and you just got to be mentally sharp. And see, that's what Nick Saban's teams a lot of times were. I mean, I know people talked about the last 2 or 3 years they got more penalties, but in big games they usually paid attention to detail and did the little things right. And I think that'll be what will give Alabama a chance to beat Georgia in Bryant-Denny Stadium in 2 weeks.
Right. And one more question.
Sure.
What I don't know if it's the technique that they're teaching down there now, or just the defense, the difference in the defense. But what has happened to Jaheim Otis?
He's played. He's just been in a rotation. He hasn't flashed. He played Saturday. If you saw number 10 in there, he just didn't make any, big time plays. He didn't make the Overton type stuff. He hasn't done Tim Keenan things where Tim Keenan's in the backfield constantly. I think he's contributed. He just hasn't, been as productive as the two guys that I think, as Alex pointed out, are becoming kind of the war daddies up front for Alabama, and that's 96 Tim Keenan and 22 LT Overton. James Smith played also. We saw a little bit of him the first 2 weeks, but we didn't see as much of him on against Wisconsin, at least flashing like we did and in the backfield. But again, I do think Alabama's developing some depth. One guy that I did see at the Bandit that I thought played well again in limited snaps was Jordan Renaud, the Texas native.
Right. I tell you, these single digits and teens on these interior linemen, I know I'm old-fashioned, but my goodness, it's messing me up.
Well, doing the same thing for Wes Neighbors, because he keeps asking me, why the hell are these linemen all wearing 20s and 10s and all this other stuff? Why aren't they wearing lineman numbers?
Really? Yeah. That's exactly the way I feel. All right, guys.
Thank you, Floyd.
Thanks, Floyd. All right. We got to get a break in because when we come back, Jake Crane's got to join us. And I know Jake Crane was one of the first. He said last week it's time for Peyton Thorne to be done. And he got his wish. He got his wish, and Hank Brown era has begun. What does Jake think of the Hank Brown era, and where do the Auburn Tigers stand now? Jake Crane will join us as we look ahead to Auburn's SEC opener this weekend.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a new rack 72 in Hine in Athens. Got one in Decatur on 6th Avenue at 14th. And still working 36 eastbound at Lower Dry Creek in Lacey. That one reported as an injury type. When you join the Heart of the Valley Y through the 22nd, they're going to waive the joining fee. Also, they're offering 10% off on personal training. YMCAHuntsville.org. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopé. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen. Last week, a lot of different feelings surrounding the Auburn football program. It was, where does Auburn go with Peyton Thorne, and do they go with Peyton Thorne at the quarterback spot? Hugh Freeze saying yesterday, or I should say Saturday after the game, that he personally made up his mind on Monday that Hank Brown would be the starter. He waited until Thursday to tell Hank and Peyton the direction they were going. Saturday, Hank Brown comes out, 4 touchdowns, looks a lot better in the second half. But I tell you what, that first half was a monsoon at times. And, I mean, it would be hard for anybody to get anything going in the rain that they had. But he looked good. Question is, did he look good enough? And is he going to be good enough to get Auburn going in the SEC?
Yeah, it's a big opener in Jordan-Hare Stadium against Arkansas, who has kind of been Jekyll and Hyde. They looked good against Oklahoma State in a loss, but then, did not look great. I didn't think this past Saturday against UAB. They struggled a little bit there and got down 17-3, but won 37-27. Hank Brown was very efficient, 17-25, 235, 4 touchdowns, 0 picks, and then they ran the ball really well after a slow start with the running game with Jarquez Hunter, who ends up with 150. This is what I think Hugh Freeze was envisioning, and they didn't even have Cam Coleman available. We're going to talk about that and more with Jake Crane, co-host of Crane and Company, from 2 to 3:30 on YouTube each and every day, part of the Real Daily Wire, and he's been kind enough to join us for his weekly segment. Jake, hope you had a great weekend of football. How are you?
Man, it's always great when it comes back with college and the NFL, but doing good, man. Already ready for the next one.
Yeah, and just your initial thoughts on Hank Brown, his efficiency, how he ran the offense. Seemed like they didn't leave plays on the field like we'd seen the first couple of weeks, but what did you think of his first start in an Auburn uniform?
Well, I think his decision-making for the most part was really good, and that's what I wanted to see, in a non-controlled environment like in practice. Not that New Mexico's not a, they're not a great defense by any means, but you go out there and it's your first start, and there's been all this talk all this week, and you found out for a couple days, how are you going to handle yourself? And it's not just throwing the ball. That's what I think some people forget. It's setting the protection. It's being able to change the play. It's recognizing defenses and what they're trying to do to you. So I thought he handled it. We use the term game manager like it's a bad thing. If you don't know how to manage the game, you can't play quarterback. Right. I don't care if you're Lamar Jackson or if you're, a true pure pocket passer. So I hate that term. But as far as when he did deliver the ball, I thought he was on time a lot. There was one slant across the middle that I know Hugh and him, they weren't thrilled with. I think Coach talks about it after the game, but he handled his business, did a good job. In the rain, it's one thing. I tell you, it's funny, and this is just how it goes when you're trying to rebuild a roster. After last weekend, the whole talk was about the offense, or 2 weekends ago, it was about the offense and the quarterback position. Now going into this week, guys, I haven't seen Auburn look this unathletic on defense in a long time. I mean, say what you want about Auburn. Sometimes they don't have the greatest defenses, but they can run. This Auburn team just doesn't look like they run very well on defense, and they take 4 angles. And I know Dan Beer's an electrifying guy, but it was like they couldn't tackle him if they had 20 guys out there.
Yeah, that's the thing. Last week we talked a lot about the quarterback spot, gave the quarterback a lot of attention because of the Peyton Thorne struggles and stuff. And I was going to say, did we forget about the secondary and trying to analyze why the secondary was playing the way they were playing? Because on Saturday, man, just to your point, it looked a little rough.
Well, against Cal, the secondary, the defense made adjustments, looked pretty decent in the second half. The thing about the first half was both sides played bad. It was just Peyton Thorne was so bad it overshadowed everything else. I think Mendoza was like 19 of 21. And look, sometimes guys are going to make plays. You're not going to be perfect, but it's one thing to be able to adjust, and DJ Durkin can do that, right? We've seen Auburn fix a lot of problems in the second half, but scheme doesn't make you faster, right? There's just some things that a coach can't do. You got to have guys that are athletic and physically gifted enough to go make those plays. Now, if we're going to talk to secondary and man coverage, sometimes the ball's underthrown in man. They're going to catch it or you're going to pass interfere. That's part of it. But it seems like when Auburn DBs are in phase with the wide receiver and man coverage, they're not understanding when the ball is getting there. They're not understanding how to read the receiver. It's not like in man coverage you can turn back and watch the quarterback the whole time. You have to read your keys of the receiver, right? The eyes will lie to you. The hands will not lie to you. And Auburn's DBs have not figured out a way to understand when that ball's about to get there so they can make their move. And if they don't do that this week, and this defensive line doesn't set edges and keep Talon Green in the pocket, Bobby Petrino will drop a 40-piece with Cajun fries in Jordan Hare in a second.
And I guess he would love it based on the past history with Auburn. He was OC there, did a good job, and then we know what happened when they there was the Jetgate thing with Tuberville. They were going to hire Bobby Petrino, but I will say Talon Green did look pretty pedestrian Saturday. At least at one point, I know he was 3 for 12 against UAB. So to me, Jake, this is one of the more unpredictable games coming up on Saturday at 2:30 inside Jordan Hare, because we just don't know which Auburn or which Arkansas will show up in a way.
Yeah, and the thing that we were talking about before the season with Talon Green was, could Petrino turn him into a consistent passer?
Yes.
Not an elite passer, because he doesn't have to be an elite passer with his skill set, because he is an elite runner with the football. I mean, he covers more ground than FedEx, man, when he gets going. He's a long strider who's got some quick twitch in him. But can he make the routine throws routine? He did against Oklahoma State for the most part week 1, and you saw what they were able to do. Against UAB, it took a little bit longer. But what UAB, I thought, did a pretty decent job of was keeping him in a box at times. Not that he's not going to get to the edge some, but when you look at what Auburn has done defensively and the athletes that Auburn has on defense, I don't know if they'd be able to catch him in a phone booth, to be honest with you, which that scares me more than anything. And you're going to see Petrino really, really lean on that run game with him and Utah transfer Jaquindon Jackson. And if Auburn doesn't fit better and Auburn doesn't start setting edges, that talent gap is going to be very, very visible when he takes off. And that's going to leave guys wide open enough where you couldn't, it's like hitting water if you fell out of a helicopter.
Well, in Auburn, though, on the defensive line, Jake, is a lot of that where they've got to get more pressure? Because the Auburn defensive line have to get more pressure.
Yeah, yes, but I guess the best way to put it is that, yeah, you want pressure, but it has to be pressure with integrity, right? You can't give this guy an escape hatch to the outside or the inside. So when you're rushing, and it's hard, it's not an easy thing to do. If he couldn't run, you just collapse the pocket and bury him in there like a house falling down. The problem is if one guy gets pressure and you don't rush to that upfield shoulder and you don't keep him in that pocket and he escapes, he can be gone, especially if you're in man coverage. So, yeah, you want to have great get-off. Yeah, you want to get back there. But just like whether it's Jalen Milroe, just like whether it's Shadur Sanders, and for a couple different reasons, if you're going to get back there, you better get down or get him down or keep him in the pocket and make him throw it to beat you. So it's rush lanes with integrity, and it'll always be that way against a guy with his skill set.
So it's going to be a very interesting matchup with Arkansas and Auburn, but I'd be remiss. I've got to ask. I know you guys will talk about it on Crane and Company later today, but is Billy Napier a dead man walking?
Oh yeah, I mean it's like my brother said on the Sunday show. He's like Tom Hanks at the end of Saving Private Ryan, shooting at that tank. The only problem is the planes never come. So I don't think you have those board meetings to not fire somebody like that. When it's a matter of when, not if anymore, and they should. I mean, there's no excuses at this point. It's Florida, right? That's like having a place that makes bad daiquiris in Louisiana. It just doesn't happen. Like, it shouldn't happen. It doesn't make sense. So the question now becomes, who's it going to be and when's it going to happen? And it's such a weird dynamic because once that head coach goes, the roster, it's free reign. And with the transfer portal, even though it's closed right now, as far as being able to leave, you can still, if the head coach leaves, contact guys. So if you're Florida, how long do you wait before you pull the trigger? But man, I tell you, that's just what Texas A&M needed to end that 10-game road losing streak. Just a nice on trip down the swamp.
Jake, you've coached the game of football. You've been on the sidelines. We've had people call in, and it's been a topic of conversation this morning. The Kentucky-Georgia game. Mark Stoops has the ball, under 3 minutes left, 4th and 7 or whatever it is. They're nearing midfield. They need a field goal to win. The question is, and the debate has been, did Mark Stoops make the right call by punting the ball in that situation, or should he have gone for it?
Well, I mean, you guys know this. Hindsight is always 20/20. If he punts it and gets it back and they kick a field goal to win it, he looks like a genius. I don't think it's as egregious as some people are making it out to be. Like it was this awfully stupid coaching decision, like you've seen from like Mario Cristobal in the past or whatever. I think I'd probably be about 65-35 go for it, because at least if we don't get it right and Georgia gets it, Kentucky's defense has been playing well. They're going to be conservative. We're going to get the ball back with poor field position. But we still got a chance to get the ball back. And even if they do kick a field goal, you're only down 4 and a touchdown still wins it for you. But the main reason why I would have gone for it, and I don't care what anybody says with the analytics never say punt. That's what I find funny. I've never heard them one time be like, well, the analytics says he should definitely punt it or kick the field goal here. It's like the analytics is just one thing. It just says go for it no matter what. But my reason for going for it would have been, at least if we went for it and we didn't get it and we lost, I could lay my head down on the pillow at night knowing I took that risk. Not that you take risks just to take risks, but I think this was a little bit different. I think I would have slept better if we'd have gone for it. Who knows? Maybe Brock Vandagriff, Dr. Seuss is his way again for another scramble first down. I would have gone for it, but, hindsight's always 20/20.
And now as we look toward the SEC this weekend, very intrigued with the Oklahoma, Tennessee game in Norman, Oklahoma. John Summerall, their group really competed at Tulane and pushed OU for 4 quarters, but Tennessee really has been untested, Jake. Because I think we all agree Dave Doran's NC State team is not very good. So, what are your initial thoughts on this matchup?
Well, I mean, I don't know how good Oklahoma really is, if we're going to be honest.
Yes.
I think there could be a little bit of not to NC State's level, just because Jackson Arnold has so much potential, right? And we know Oklahoma defensively with Stutzman, who was just all over the field against Tulane. If you watch that game, I just think at Tennessee, and have they played the best schedule in the world? No, but what are they bad at? That's the thing. Like, what are they bad at? Defensively, it's probably the best team Josh Heupel's had. You could make an argument this is the best front seven they've had in a decade. I think Nico's only going to get better. We know the pieces they have on the outside and their ability to run the ball with Sampson and this offensive line. And then you throw in their ability to get exotic with the style of offense and the pace that they run. I just think Tennessee can win games in so many ways. Now, Oklahoma isn't home. That is a big advantage. But, when you do it the way Tennessee does it, going fast like that can kind of take some of the juice out of the building too. And Oklahoma, the big question we had about them coming into the year, and we still have, is whenever you have to replace the quarterback and all the offensive line, it takes time, especially against quality opponents. So I like Tennessee this weekend. Do I like him 7.5 where it is right now? I hate that number in general. I'd buy it down and get him at 6.5 and feel a whole lot better. But I don't think Tennessee has a weakness right now. And the teams that win the most, they win the most ways, fellas.
Is the term patience for Mississippi State at this time give Jeff Lebby some time to try to fix what's going on in Starkville? Just be patient. I know the loss is bad, but I mean, do they got to be patient?
Well, it depends on how you use the word. Are you talking about be patient and wait, or be a patient in an insane asylum? Because after 2 laps, Toledo came in there and pulled your pants down in front of everybody in the high school. I don't know how you rebound from that. I think you just end up turning into the Joker. But yeah, that's tough. It's tough. But look, Levy and company, they need time. That roster's not very good. And Toledo's a team that I picked to win the MAC before the year. Not that a MAC team, even if they're the favorite, should go into Starkville and do that. But I was disappointed by the way Mississippi State played at home. They're better than that. Levy understands that. He does need time. So if you're a Mississippi State fan, you can be upset. You should be upset. But you also got to realize that it is going to take time. So, yes, I think patience in the waiting term right now, not patience in the waiting room, is where you need to be.
Well, and are you guys going to take an over-under on Crane and Company on how many fans will be at the Mississippi State-Florida game?
Oh, gosh. I don't know a better way to put this, but, I've never seen a live cripple fight on TV, but that's about what that's going to – at least one program is like, all right, we got to give our coach a chance. The other one is let's fire our coach into the sun like Icarus.
Oh, they're going to fire him into the sun if they lose to Mississippi State. There's no question.
I was going to say,
State, they may legitimately set him on fire. Like, not just fire him. I don't know. He may just be on fire. You'll see like one of those flaming arrows coming from the crowd, like before the Olympics.
Great stuff from Jake Crane. Crane and Company later today on the Real Daily Wire on YouTube, 2 to 3:30. Don't miss it. We appreciate your time, brother.
Y'all are the best, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Jake Crane.
Set him on fire.
If they lose in Starkville, holy buckets.
Trust me, Scott, I was texting with some of our Florida friends, and they were not happy on Saturday. I can tell you that. One of them even said to quote Donald Trump, "You're fired."
I mean, look, they looked bad before the weather delay. They looked even worse after the weather delay.
Horrible.
And that's the thing. I mean, it didn't improve. And that's the thing. You go into a weather delay, you got time to make changes. You know exactly what they're going to do. The game plan is out there. And you still don't make corrections. And you still don't get things fixed. Let's get that final break in. Your tomorrow's headlines will wrap us up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just got a wreck on Research Park northbound at Old Madison Pike, coming in as a no injury. Had one in Decatur at 6th Avenue and 14th Street, one in Athens at 72 and Hine, and they still may be trying to clear that one in Morgan County, 36 in Lower Dry Creek. That one reported as an injury time. Snelling needs an experienced property manager who knows HOA procedures. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Listen to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond.
Man, I appreciate what you guys do. I know Freddie got Drew, Talkin' Ball 7 until 9 on my show when I feature Drew, and certainly have a great relationship with Wes and Steve and Tom and all you guys. Man, it's always fun to hang out with you with media days, different bowl events, but I always appreciate the partnership. I almost feel like we're sister stations with 97.7 The Zone, the only sports station in the Rockets, and thank you so much.
Every weekday morning, wake up with Scott and Drew. It's Talkin' Ball on 97.7 The Zone.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Next time you're online looking for landscaping inspiration, open Instagram and check out Southern Gent Landscaping. They can help make your yard your dream outdoor oasis. Southern Gent Landscaping can handle it all, from landscape maintenance and installation to irrigation and hardscapes, even AstroTurf. Turn your yard into a landscape you'll be proud to show off. Call Southern Gent Landscaping at 256-509-6088. 509-6088. Southern Gent Landscaping. Professional landscaping performed with satisfaction guaranteed.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome back into the program on a Monday. It's been a lot of good, the bad, the ugly. And we do have to, by the way, speaking of some of the ugly, the Will Levis era for the Tennessee Titans continues to be ugly.
I didn't even mention that.
They fall to 0-2. They fall 0-2. They lose to the Jets at home yesterday, 24-17. And the Will Levis experiment is not good.
Well, and Bryce Young's struggling, but it's because he's got toilet around him. That's the worst organization in sports. If they don't improve,
they're
that
a laughing
quickly,
stock of sports.
Yeah, they need to trade him and get him the hell out of town. And just it's amazing what Baker Mayfield looks like now that he got away from the Cleveland Browns. Sorry, Czar. And the Carolina Panthers himself, because he's now a good player with Tampa. You got to have stuff around you in a decent organization, man. I'm sorry, but that's the key. Levis actually has Calvin Ridley. He's got receivers, no doubt about it. And I think he's got a decent supporting cast. I've just never believed in him because I never thought he was consistent at Kentucky. Kentucky's where quarterbacks go to croak. That's just the way it is. So unfortunately,
well, and the Brian Dable era in New York is not looking good. They lose 21-18 to the Commanders yesterday. A lot of talk about his job security there in New York. Anyway, that's going to do it for our 2 hours. We will be back tomorrow. I will be back here in Iowa tomorrow.
There's no telling what he'll be eating tomorrow. Probably homemade granola.
Hey, the blueberry pancakes were phenomenal this morning.
Hear you just eating the raspberries.
And the raspberries were phenomenal too. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. It's off to the pickleball courts now, though, by the way.
Okay. Don't tear your ACL.
Thanks for that.
I'm just saying that kind of happens around here.
Of all the things.
Be safe.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to